itself is now fully upgraded, though it still has plenty of room to keep evolving. I also noticed they're starting to build roads, which should help organize the kingdom a bit better. The women, on the other hand, are a little more behind when it comes to upgrades, at least in the north. Up there, they still only have tents. The south, though, seems to be their main focus right now. That's where I see their mill and their very first port. And by the way, this one actually has a fishing boat, so we can already say they're making use of fishing as a resource to better supply their people. I can also see they just built a new village, which shows they're still pushing expansion. But here's the thing, while the women are adding one, the men are putting up 3 new villages at the same time. That suggests they might expand much faster than the women. We've just hit the 100-year mark, and against all odds, the men haven't managed to conquer their entire territory. The women, however, actually did, but the difference between the two is pretty slim. Looking at the men's kingdom, the south has been one of the fastest growing areas. There, every structure is covered in concrete, they've built mines, and a whole bunch of mills. Meanwhile, the central region of their territory hasn't advanced quite as much. Only in one of the northern villages do we start seeing the same kind of tech upgrades that first appeared in the south. The women, on the other hand, are a bit further behind. They don't have a single house covered in concrete yet. In fact, their capital is pretty underdeveloped for being the capital. It's basically just huts, and they haven't even reinforced the foundations with concrete the way they've done in other parts of the kingdom. That being said, I do see at least a couple of houses, including a palace, that have already been reinforced with concrete, so it's pretty clear those upgrades will soon spread to the rest of their homes. On the military side, the women currently hold a slight advantage, though the gap is minimal, which means things could flip in the coming centuries. We're now at year 350, and the first thing we notice is that, in terms of soldiers, the men have finally managed to pull slightly ahead, though we're only talking about 20 more troops. So it's hardly the kind of difference that marks a real turning point. Either way, looking at the upgrades, we can see that the women have pretty much improved all their houses with concrete. Plus they've built a training barracks and a few siege towers scattered around the kingdom. However, just when it seemed like that was a major sign of strength, we take a look at the men's side and realize their capital has already entered the modern era. That's an insanely big advantage they've managed to gain over the women in the past 2 centuries. That said, I don't see any training barracks on their side, unlike the women, so that might just be the key to balancing things out a bit. With better military preparation, the women could actually make up for that technological gap. We've finally reached year 1000.